I am a little bit biased, but I do love trout lily. And looking at this plant, it is such a short living species in the early spring. Hey there, my name is Danny Molinaro. I am a supervisor for the North Woods and our Natural Areas team. The Natural Areas team is comprised of about 15 restoration practitioners who care for the most ecologically sensitive parts of the park, like our woodlands and forested habitats, some of our wildflowers and grasslands, and also areas that are a little bit more wet, like our wetland areas around streams and ponds. And simply, our team is trying to the best that we can to work with nature and not against it. Currently, we're in a really exciting part of the park. We're in our upland dry oak hickory forest. Off to our side, we're right next to our historic blockhouse, which actually predates the park. So today we're looking at a really special spring wildflower called trout lily, which is a native plant growing down here. For those who may not be aware, a native plant is a plant that's co-evolved with the ecosystem for thousands of years without human intervention. This plant has these mottled spotted leaves. They almost resemble that of a trout side. On the flower itself, you can see these little drooping yellow flower heads that on a nice warm day will be popping upright and showing their face. They are also a really crucial food source for a lot of different wildlife in early spring. When you're out enjoying nature, really the best practice is a leave no trace policy. So observe nature, enjoy it, take your photos, but to the best of your ability, please respect and stay outside of those protected areas behind fence. Stay on the path. Do not pick or pull from plants, please. Some things that we do in particular might include adding protective fencing to protect a population. We will remove invasive plants that start to threaten and challenge these plants here. We'll leave the leaves for that organic matter and for all the food web that requires it. Especially in plants like this that have co-evolved with all the other plants and animals around it, it's a crucial piece to the story. If one piece of that web goes missing or changes, it can disrupt the whole layer of that food web. We certainly want to encourage you to come on out, enjoy the park, and have fun. And it's really important to just be respectful of nature while also admiring it.